What's up, nerds? How you guys doing this morning? So today I'm going to be doing a video on how to do a head shave using a safety razor. So if you just got done watching my face shave, or I just got done shaving my face, so you should be able to watch that video as well. But now I'm going to be moving on to how to do a safety razor head shave. So I already got my lather whipped up. I'm using the same Merkur Future, the Aftershave Platinum blade. I'm using the Taylor Bold Bond Street cream. And everything's ready to go. So I'll start by wetting my head and then we'll get going. So one thing a little different about that I do a little different between my head and face shaves. On my head I don't do the 3-pass technique. I do a 2-pass technique. I go cross the grain and then against the grain and then a touch up. Where I fill where I've missed spots and kind of touch it up. So it's a modified 3-pass, I guess you could say, with first pass being cross grain, second pass against the grain, third pass is a touch up pass. Guys, I made my lather a little thin this morning, so sometimes that happens. So what I'm doing, I'm just grabbing a little bit more cream. I'm going to add it right down into my brush, just like the building lather video. Then you take that, and I'm just going to work it in almost like I'm doing a head or face lather. So you can already see it building up a better lather just from that little bit added. So if that happens, if you have a little bit of a thin lather, no big deal. Just add a little bit more product. Whatever you're using, load up a little more soap, add a little cream, and then just kind of do a head or face lather. If your lather is a little dry, if you have the opposite problem of what I had this morning, if your lather is a little dry, dip your bristles in a little bit of water or leave your head and face a little bit wet when you go to apply the lather. That will add a little bit of, when you go to apply your lather, that will add some water back into it, make it a little more wet. So, not a big deal if your lather's not perfect. You can do things to correct it on the go. So, that's much better now. It's better to take just a little bit of time to add in a little cream or add in a little water and make a better lather than it is to use a poor lather and get poor results. So I'll paint that on to even it all out. Alright. Had a little bit of cream left on my hand, so don't want the, just like I said in the face shaving, you don't want your handle slipping around in your hand, so make sure your hand's clean, dry. If you watch my tip video, I always keep the Allen block by my side so I can run my fingers on it. So alright guys, here we go. First pass, cross the grain. And guys, just like doing the face shave, no pressure, let the blade, let the handle do the work. You're just guiding the blade along. That's all you're doing. You're holding it at the proper angle, letting it glide along so it can perform what it's designed to do. Same thing in the back, cross the grain, nice and smooth and slow. One thing I do when I'm doing the back of my head a lot is I close my eyes and just go by feel. I don't try to look in the mirror and twist the handle or anything like that. I typically close my eyes so I don't use the mirror at all and just go off of feel. So if you see me closing my eyes, that's why my eyes are closed. Alright guys, first pass is done. There's probably some spots in back that I've missed. I typically, you know, you're until you feel back there and do your touch-up pass, there'll probably be little spots that you've missed. No big deal. You'll catch them in your touch-up pass. So, and give your head a little bit of a rinse. One thing I do when I rinse is I also feel, well, what I was saying is one thing I do when I rinse is I also feel the areas where I've missed. So I know, like, okay, right up here I still have quite a bit to take down, but in the middle I did alright. Over on this side I did okay, so I missed a little spot right up here where it's still a little bit longer. There's obviously other spots than that, but that was a bigger area I missed. So as you rinse, kind of feel where you need to pay a little bit better attention to on your subsequent passes. So we'll lather up and go again. Alright, here we go with the against the grain pass. And I haven't been talking much in these videos, guys. I'll probably time compress them a little bit, but I wanted to try and do it as if it was in real time. The longer I talk, the longer the videos stretch out. I don't want anybody to have to sit here for 30, 45 minutes as I keep talking and talking and talking. So that's why I'm being pretty quiet today. I want to just show how it's done. I'll probably time compress them a little bit so it's easier to watch. Alright guys, there's the second pass against the grain, done. So now I'll rinse my head, and at this point it's up to you how much time you want to spend touching up. If you, well, Give me 1 sec to rinse my head. So as I was saying, at this point, it's up to you how much time you want to spend touching up your head. If you, when you do that rinse, if it feels good and you only got a few rough spots and you can live with that, boom, you can be done. If you're got a little bit of an OCD, a little bit of a perfectionist, and you want to spend a lot of time getting it perfectly smooth everywhere, you can do that too. So this is definitely, there's no one right way to do this. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you want to spend the time doing, you can do. So I like to get it pretty smooth everywhere. So typically I'll run my hand all over. I had a rough spot right back here, if you remember, after the first pass. That got cleaned up pretty well, so it's pretty smooth there now. But over here I didn't spend as much time, so it's a little rough over here. So you just fill around, see where it needs touched up, and then typically what I do at this point is I don't really apply the lather. What I'll do is I'll just get a little bit with my fingers. Make sure your hand's dry. Whatever hand you're going to be using your holding your razor with, make sure it's dry so it's not slipping around. Get a little bit of lather on my fingers, and then what I do is I just kind of fill where it's rough, paint it on there, and then use my razor and kind of chase my hand around. So it's a little rough right back here, so I'll start there. And guys, like I said, this part now is strictly user preference. Whatever you want to do, you do. If you want it super smooth, you just keep chasing around until you get every last little bit of stubble off. If you don't mind a few little rough spots and you don't want to spend the time chasing it all, that's fine too. Whatever suits you. I like it super smooth. I like chasing it down, getting every last little bit. So that's typically what I do. Sometimes I don't even put lather back on. I'll just take my wet hand and rub it on there, and there's still a lot of slickness on your head from the lather, so just use that. Guys, as you can see, I'm barely holding on to the handle. I'm just very lightly holding it, no pressure at all, especially when I'm doing these touch-up passes, because there's not very much lather there. There's not very much cushion provided from the lather, so very, very light, very gentle. Alright guys, I know that took a little while at the end there doing all that touch-up work, but I love the smooth feeling. So like I said, that is completely up to you. If you don't want to spend that much time doing the touch-up, you don't have to. I enjoy it. I enjoy the process. It's kind of therapeutic for me. I enjoy finding all those hairs to, you know, shave them down. So, and I love the way it feels when it's completely smooth and you don't really feel any rough spots anywhere. But that's me. That's how I like to do it. You definitely don't have to do it that way. Like I said earlier, there's no one right way to do it. And like I said, I'm an amateur. I'm not saying I know the perfect way to do any of this. So please comment. Let me know if you know of a better technique that might speed up my shaves. I'm always looking to do it more efficient, but still keep the same quality of shave. So if you know of something like that, please share what you know with me. Please comment. Please subscribe. Please share this video. I want people to know how to use a safety razor to do head shaves. Watch my intro video, it'll tell you why I started doing this, but I'm going to rinse. We'll do a quick aftershave. I'll show you what I use for that and we'll be done. After my final pass, I always pat rinse and then pat dry. And then on my head, what I use for an aftershave is just pure witch hazel. That's all I use is just witch hazel. Get a little bit in my hand. And then just kind of rub it on. One more time. And there we go. So that's all I use is aftershave. Some days if it's a super dry day, if I feel like my skin's really dry, I'll add a little bit of lotion after the witch hazel all dries. But typically all I have to use is witch hazel, and it gives me a nice, clean, smooth feeling, and does well. So once again, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.